Hey, it's Chuck Karstensen, Course of Miracles number 75. And I am doing this one. If you don't recall, I haven't done one in over a week. It's probably the longest time I've gone without doing a Course in Miracles video since my eye surgery that got me to start doing it. But the last one, I talked about undoing undoing things that aren't of God, basically. In this one, I'm mentioning that God is also happiness because this is an interesting concept to me that God is also happiness. So, what I note is that God is love. Anybody on the spiritual religion side, you've heard that before. God is love, but God is also happiness. Don't hear that as much, but I'm sure you've heard that in some way before. You might hear it as far as joy. But happiness and joy, some people say it's the same, some people say it's different. That's not really the point of this. Is to say it's the point of this is God is also happiness. So when it comes to undoing, we need to undo not being loving. We need to undo not being happy. And I yesterday's lesson was on one version of happiness, like it's God's will that we be happy. Now today, God being love is also happiness is the lesson, like another reminder. And that's a hard one for me. So I'm not saying I'm an unhappy person. I'm typically pretty happy, smiley, whatever. But since I'm tired, it's a good word for my demeanor, a little not full of energy sometimes because I'm tired. And it's like, would somebody, first of all, somewhere in the Course of Miracles that says, you can never be tired. The truth is you can never be tired. As if God made created this image, and God is love. I mean, you want to be tired, but you could be weary. Now I'm going on a tangent, but now back to what I'm talking about today is what I mean that I would then, me personally, would have to undo my tiredness, my weariness, and be more happy demeanor, a little more energy. For example, that'd be a step in the right direction. For some people, they're depressed, they're sad, they're angry, they're whatever. There's many things that might sound worse than weary or tired, might sound better than weary or tired. But that's a choice that needs to be undone. And you might say, I'm not choosing. Life isn't going that well. You're not aware that you're not choosing. I'm not aware. Sometimes I'm not choosing. And sometimes I'm aware, like, oh, I just did that crabby thing that I don't want to do. So, and you'd like to undo it. So I bring this up because most people really, ideally, most people want to be happy. They may not think in terms of God. They may not think in terms of God as love, but they sure want to be happy. You want to have a happy day. You want to have a good day. But God is also happiness because the truth of anytime I share one of these message or the truth of is love, there can be no other, even that in this world we see, other things other than love and happiness. So how do we get to that point? We have to work on it. We have to be aware of it. So I'm bringing this up today because you probably want to have a happy day. The sun's shining outside of Minnesota. You're probably happier than before. The weather's warming up in Minnesota. You're probably happier than before because of the weather, because of something external is making you happy. What internal can be done? Can you work on to help with your happiness? Because God is also happiness. So when we're living in true truth, pursuing the truth, in the kingdom, we would be happy. So again, this is coming from a guy that sometimes gets tired and like, oh, I got to shift this awareness in my head and just be aware of it. Because one of the other recent lessons, which isn't part of any of my notes, is you teach what you are, or you become what you teach. So if I'm teaching tiredness, if you're teaching sadness, if you're teaching sickness, if you're teaching depression, if you're teaching crabbiness, or whatever you're teaching, hopefully you're teaching happiness, hopefully you're teaching love, hopefully you're teaching encouragement. But whenever we're not doing some of those higher level but very simple things, that's what we become. So chances are, if you're sad, depressed, angry, that's what you're teaching. If you're attacking somebody, like we talked about attack before, that's why you're getting the attack. Yes, it may sound like, no, that's not how Jesus religion works. I don't know. You tell me, how's it working for you? How is it working for you? Teach happiness, teach love. At least smile today. Could be easier than not smiling. All right. Have a blessed weekend.